Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 of your Medical Language 2 course. This week we are working on chapter 10. And chapter 10 is all about neurology. So basically what we're looking at is the nervous system. So we're going to be looking at the different structures of the nervous system, how the actual process of nerve transmission occurs, what happens in that process. Then we're going to look at common diseases of the nervous system and different laboratory and diagnostic procedures that help us with those. We're going to look at the drugs that are used for some of those different diseases. And then we're going to look at some of the language, so the plural and adjective forms of nouns related to neurology, meanings of some of the word parts, and then we're going to learn how to build and actually pronounce some of those words. So let's just take a quick peek at what is neurology. Neurology is the medical specialty that studies the nervous system. So we're going to look at all of the bits and pieces of the nervous system itself. And some might argue that the nervous system is the most important system within the body because it does run everything else. It's found in every single part of your body from head to toe. We're basically divided into the central nervous system and what we call the peripheral nervous system. And probably one of the most useful slides in this particular slide deck and in the chapter is going to be this one. And this one is great. It really shows you visually how the nervous system is broken down and what all of those parts and pieces do. So really, this particular slide kind of sums up a good portion of the chapter. Obviously, different pieces are going to get into detail of these things, but this is the meat and potatoes of it, is everything that you're seeing right here in this particular slide. So when we talk about the nervous system, it's broken into those two pieces, the central nervous system and the peripheral. Central nervous system is the brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system is the cranial and spinal nerves and everything that branches off of that. And then from there, the peripheral nervous system is broken down into two parts, the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. Now, the automatic nervous system is just what it sounds like. These are things that automatically happen. So when we talk about the autonomic nervous system, these are the things that happen that we don't have to think about. So I don't have to think about making my heart beat. I don't have to think about those types of things. So that's what the autonomic nervous system is. And that nervous system is broken down again into two pieces, what we call the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. The parasympathetic is what we call the rest and digest set of autonomic activities, whereas the sympathetic is that fight or flight. So the things that you're gonna, your heart rate's gonna pick up and things like that. Things like the parasympathetic, again, that's, digestive system, things like that. And then the somatic is going to be those things that we have to think about, walking, running, those types of things. Okay, and now that we kind of know about these different divisions of the nervous system, we're going to look at some of the different parts and pieces in a little more detail. So what exactly is the brain? What does it do? What does the spinal cord do? What do those spinal nerves and cranial nerves do? So that's the next section in this particular chapter. Then after you have looked at all of the anatomy of the nervous system, the next piece is going to be to look at what are some of the different parts and pieces of the neurons and neurotransmitters, which are the building blocks of this particular the nervous system. So you're going to get all the way down to the cell level on the nervous system as far as looking at how things work. Then from there, we're going to go on and start looking at the diseases. What are the diseases that affect the brain? And these are just a few that they talk about. And they're going to give you some specific names of, for example, some of the brain tumors, what they mean, how to pronounce those words, things like that. And not only are we looking at, the diseases of the brain, but we're going to be looking at all of the other things like the spinal cord, some of the defects that can occur with those. What are some of the things that affect the nerves themselves, like multiple sclerosis, all of those kinds of things. So as you go through this material, if you have questions about any of it, please make sure that you reach out to me, and have a great week.